Diagnosis. By the time I was 6 months old, she knew something was wrong with me. I got looks on my face she had not seen on any child in the family or the extended family or the neighborhood. My mother took me in to the pediatrician with the kind hands, a doctor with a name like a suit size for a wheel, hub long. My mom did not tell him what she thought in truth, that I was possessed. It was just these strange looks on my face. He held me and conversed with me, chatting as one does with a baby. And my mother said, "She's doing it now. Look, she's doing it now." And the doctor said, "What your daughter has is called a sense of humor." "Oh," she said, and took me back to the house where that sense would be tested and found to be incurable. The last evening. Then we raised the top portion of the bed, and her head was like a trillium growing up out of the ground in the woods, eyes closed, mouth open. And we put the battle arias on. And when I heard the first note, that was it for me. I excused myself from the death room guests and went to my mother and cleared a place on the mattress beside her arm, lifting the tubes, oxygen, dextrose, morphine, dipping in under them and letting them rest on my hair, as if burying myself under a topsoil of roots. I pulled the sheet up over my head and touched my forehead and nose and mouth to her arm. And then, against the warm solace of her skin, I sobbed full out, unguarded, as I have not done near her. And I could feel some barrier between us dissolving. I could feel myself dissolving it, moving ever closer to her through it, till I was all there. And in her coma, nothing drew her away from giving me the basal kindness of her presence. When the doctor came in, he looked at her and said, "I'd say hours, not days." When he left, I ate a pear with her, talking us through it, and walnuts, and a crow, a whole bouquet of crows came apart outside the window. I looked for the moon and said, "I'll be right back," and ran down the hospital hall. And there, outside the eastern window, was the waxing gibbous, like a swimmer's head turned to the side, half out of the water, mouth pulled to the side and back to take breath. I could see my young mother, slim and strong in her navy one-piece, and see, in memory's dark blue corridor, the beauty of her crawl, the hard, graceful overhand motion, as someone who says, "This way," to the others behind. And I went back and sat with her alone an hour in the quiet, and I felt almost not afraid of losing her. I was so content to have her beside me, unspeaking, unseeing, alive. One of the wonderful things about being able to travel as in any kind of business, I guess, is how educational it is to travel and to stay in different hotels, especially the hotels, which is not the one that we're in now, which is wonderful in every way, but the hotels that have the whole bathroom is made of mirrors. So this is called Self-Portrait Rear View. At first, I do not believe it in the hotel triple mirror that is my body, in back, below the waist, and above the legs, the thing that doesn't stop moving when I stop moving. And it doesn't look like just one thing, or even one big double thing. Even the word saddlebags has a smooth calfskin feel to it, compared to this compendium of net string bags shaking their booty of cellulite fruits and nuts. Some lumps look like bonbons translated intact from chocolate box to buttocks, the curl on top showing slightly through my skin. Once I see what I can do with this, I do it, high-stepping to make the rapids of my bottom rush in ripples like a world wonder. Slowly, I believe what I am seeing, a 54-year-old rear end, once a tight end, high and mighty, almost a chicken butt, now exhausted as if tragic. But this is not an invasion. My cul-de-sac is not being used to hatch alien cells, ball peens, gyroscopes, sacks of marbles. It's my hoard of treasure, my good luck not to be dead yet. Though when I flutter the wing of my ass again and see in a clutch of eggs, each egg on its own as if shellless, shudder, I wonder if anyone has ever died looking in a mirror of horror. I think I will not even catch a cold from it. I will go to school to it, to butt boot camp, to the video store where I saw in the window my hero, my workout jelly role model, my apotheosis, Killer Buns. This is a book of end of long marriage, and sort of most of it in that first year. And this is a poem kind of in the middle called Tiny Siren. And had it been a year since I had stood looking down into the whirlpool in the laundry nook of our August rental, not sure what I was seeing. It looked like a girl brought up in a net with fish. It was a miniature woman in a bathing suit, lying back after the spin cycle. The photograph of a woman slightly shaped over the contours of a damp towel. I drew it out, radiant square from some other world, maybe the daughter of the owners of the house. And yet it looked like someone we knew. I said to my husband, "This was in with the sheets and towels." "Good heavens," he said, "where?" "In with the sheets and your running shorts. Doesn't it look like your colleague?" We gazed at the smile and the older shapely body in its gleaming rainbow sheaths, surprised trout of wash day. An hour later, he found me and told me she had given him the picture the day that they went running together when I was away. He must have slipped it in his pocket. He was so shocked to see it again, he did not know what to say. In a novel, I said, this would be when the wife should worry. Is there even the slightest reason to worry? He smiled at me and took my hand and turned to me and said, it seemed not by rote, but as if it were a physical law of the earth, I love you. And we made love, and I felt so close to him. I had not known he knew how to lie, and his telling me touched my heart. Just once, later in the day, I felt a touch seasick, as if a deck were tilting under me. A run he'd taken, not mentioned in our home, a fisher of men in the washing machine. Just for a few minutes, I had felt a little nervous. And one other poem from Stag's Leap, this one, Poem for the Breasts. Like other identical twins, they can be better told apart in adulthood. One is fast to wrinkle her brow, her brain, her quick intelligence. The other dreams inside a constellation, freckles of Orion. They were born when I was 13. They rose up, half out of my chest. Now they're 40, wise, generous. I am inside them, in a way under them, or I carry them. I'd been alive so many years without them. I can't say I am them, though their feelings are almost my feelings, as with someone one loves. They seem to me like a gift that I have to give. That boys were said to worship their category of being, almost starve for it, did not escape me, and some young men loved them the way one would want oneself to be loved. All year they have been calling to my departed husband, singing to him like a pair of soaking sirens on a scaled rock. They can't believe he's left them. It's not in their vocabulary, they being made of promise. They're like literally kept vows. Sometimes now I hold them a moment, one in each hand, twin widows, heavy with grief. They were a gift to me, and then they were ours, like thirsty nurslings of excitement and plenty. And now it's the same season again, the very week he moved out. Didn't he whisper to them, wait here for me 1 year? No. He said, God be with you, God bye with you, God bye for the rest of this life and for the long nothing. And they do not know language. They are waiting for him. My Christ, they're dumb. They do not even know they are mortal. Sweet, I guess, refreshing to live with. Beings without the knowledge of death, creatures of ignorant suffering. This is a poem that was written when the great poet Ruth Stone, the day that Ruth, who lived to be like 96 until about a year ago, the day that she was buried. And I'm reading it in honor of all my teachers, so many of whom are alive, and so many of you whom are getting younger and younger and younger than I am, which is very cool. And in honor of all the supporters of each of us in whatever our field of endeavor is, and for so many of us in writing, it is people who are in Red Hen, and the other, the word that comes to mind is sacred. I need a more citizenship word for that, but the way the species helps each other. So this is for Ruth and for all the Red Hens. Suddenly, and suddenly, it's today, it's this morning, they are putting Ruth Stone into the earth, her breasts going down under the hill, like the moon and sun going down together. Oh, I know, it's not Ruth. What was Ruth went out slowly, but this was her form, beautiful and powerful as the old, gorgeous goddesses who were terrible, too, not telling a lie for anyone. And she'd been left here so long among mortals by her mate, who could not 1 hour bear to go on being human. And I've gone a little crazy myself with her going, which seems to go against logic, the way she has always been there, with her wonder and her generousness, her breasts like two voluptuous external hearts. I am so glad she kept them all her life, and she got to be buried in them. She 96 and they maybe 82 each, which is 164 years of pleasure and longing. And think of all the poets who have suckled at her riskiness, her risque, her body politic, her outlaw grace, what she came into this world with a mew and cry she gave us. In her red sweater and her red hair and her raw melodious Virginia cackle, she emptied herself fully out into her songs and our song-making. We would not have made our songs without her. Oh, dear one, what is this? You are not a child, though you dwindled. You have not retraced your path, but continue to move straight forward to where we will follow you, radiant Mother. Red Rover, cross over.